Hello and welcome to Your Heart's Path. My name is Faye. Every month I deliver some psychic and intuitive messages for the upcoming month ahead. It's the 1st of October today. I have sat and meditated on the energy, and as an intuitive being yourself, I'm sure that you realize that sometimes prior to information rising, it can also pop in the days or the lead up to a session like this. So I'm going to be exploring a vast blueprint with you today that acts as a bit of a map. And a guide for you to work with the current energy, including its challenges, in the most empowering way. We read from this place where we're having a look at the collective consciousness, meaning that space or that beautiful web of information that we are constantly contributing to, that's in response to our bodies, our minds, and our souls, which kind of starts to change patterns. It can open up different directions, but it gives us an opportunity to draw information from this beautiful space and versus looking at prediction, this is your future. We're looking at sort of probable outcomes based on the information that I'm picking up on and sensing through my intuitive body. Where to begin? I feel like it's nice to start with some imagery, and I also just want to welcome you into this space. Feel as though I'm having a conversation with just you. Some of this is going to resonate, some of it won't. Work with the bits that feel alive to you, that feel like, oh yeah, this has sort of been playing out in my life a little bit. Perhaps I can, work with it in this way. I really want this to be practical and productive. So I'm going to start with an image, and I think the image is important because it's the image of the snake. This is a theme that we've all been experiencing this year. The snake we know is all about transformation, and it's about this period of we are coming out of the period where I feel like we've just shed the skin. In the pressure building to that experience, kind of like labor, kind of like a big contraction right at that point, just before you release, just before the skin sheds, just before you orgasm. There's this experience where I feel we're at right now, where we're very aware of the pressure and the accumulation of energy in the body. And what we're arriving at this month is this space of renewal, clarity, a little more energy, a little bit more momentum, feeling as though we're participating more as the creator than the direct experiencer of life that's kind of happening to us. And it's this space where we start to feel the pressure release, much like this orgasmic experience, much like the shedding of a skin, much like giving birth. There is an instant almost relief that can happen after letting go or shedding this experience that you've been chipping away at for months and months and months and months and months. So this is the inhale that we'll experience after that exhale, where there's kind of like a little sort of scrubbing off of those old bits. You can imagine like the snake skin, around the face, the little bits that didn't quite come off in that big sort of tube that didn't kind of come off cleanly. We're kind of going in and we're doing like the buffing. This is a nice time to kind of be standing back and smoothing out what didn't come off in that one big swoop. With that, there's this lovely experience of freshness, of newness, but it can also come with a rawness. And so, if you've just shed your skin, which a lot of you have, some of you are still in that final kind of squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. What we start to notice is that there's just a little bit more calmness out the other side of this experience. And so this brings me to the eyes. I feel like for some of you, you're having a bit of a washover through the eyes. You could look at this physically, or you could look at this symbolically, spiritually, that we're kind of rubbing off a layer. Perhaps for some of you, this is removing a veil from your vision where you can see things a little bit more clearly. Oh, but it's also a really lovely time to gain new perspective where I can almost see like it goes from like a mirage or almost like an illusion to something feeling super blurry or like a foggy window to all of a sudden being able to see what's out on the other side. So this creates depth too. It's like depth in perception. I can see further. I can see more clearly what's around me. This is also symbolic of like truth, revealing another layer because there is a sensation of something being a little lighter. What you've shed this year so far is not just themes and little tiddly bits that have just like surfaced as you've been going. These are really huge, big themes. A lot of you have closed down relationships, have had put down addictions, have chosen sobriety, have decided to embrace your psychic abilities, have committed to a particular lifestyle that your soul feels devoted to you. Some of you have chosen to start a family, not have a family. Some of you have moved countries. It's big. And the bigness of this is that a lot of the work has been very private, very internal. And even if it was spoken about, there's been this whole other part of your building, if you will, your life that we weren't able to put words to. You weren't able to share the depths of your transformation almost because of a lack of language and a feeling like maybe it wouldn't be understood, or perhaps this is just something intimate and private. What can happen after a period like that is that we go through this space where language begins to change. And I sense this, you could look at this even with AI, with technology, you could see this even just with a deeper understanding or a precision with the words that we are utilizing with a little bit more care, slowing down a little in order to express. So is that the fullness of the essence is experienced, so is that we are understood by ourselves and by other. And this starts to these words that kind of start to drop in, this ability to be able to translate your experience, whether that's through sharing with friends and family of what's been going on or what has happened for this huge chapter of your life, or whether this is your ability to write it, to sing it, to paint it. It feels to me like this lengthy, deep experience has this feeling of transpiring or transforming and being able somehow to show up in your day-to-day physical reality. This is a really beautiful time, but it can also feel really tender when you expand your awareness to the conflict that is taking place on our planet at the moment. As sensitive beings, you're going to be feeling that. And with this clarity, with this new language, with this new perspective and this understanding and the vitality and energy that you start to regain through this period of clarity out the other side of focusing very much on letting go, focusing very much on purging, focusing very much on this surrender, that we have less force and these more open pockets of clarity where we're able to respond to what's going on in the outer world with a little bit more precision and accuracy. What I want to address what's going on all the way out there, but I also want to highlight that what starts to happen when we're in this space of clarity, where we're no longer fighting our own reality because we've come and arrived at a space more of acceptance, even in the discomfort of some of our experiences, is that we're being a little bit more honest with ourselves. We've got the language to be able to make choices as to how we continue to flow forward. It kind of just feels to me like this is the recipe before we begin to create something brand new. The brand newness considers what's going on externally in its recipe. It's starting to look more from this law of one, which has been really super loud in our collective field, in our collective consciousness. It's been rising from this, our collective unconscious. And if this has been logical, you're going to start to feel the effects of this, where it's I am you and you are me. What is oneness? What is unity? Where am I in harmony in body, mind, and soul? There's kind of this coming together where I've seen these two separate parts, which we're seeing animated throughout the world, this kind of duality, this conflict, and we're rising in this space here in the center, where we have the opportunity then to respond and feed it more fear, more division, more conflict, more right, wrong, good, bad duality, or we respond in this space. And even if you don't have vision for the future yet, you're able to respond in essence. Essence needs heart. Essence comes from heart. Essence comes from feeling. Essence comes from a space of clarity, from a space where there is a body, mind, soul creation of an energy that is emitted. It's emitted. It's like we respond in essence, and instead it's like this clarity space goes, oh, I have a choice point here. Am I going to feed fear? Am I going to see this getting worse and spiraling out of control? Or am I going to start to respond in prayer? Sorry about my zooming in and out. Am I going to respond in kindness? Am I going to respond in calmness? And sometimes we expand far further out than we are ready to, meaning you might be trying to address what's going on in the other side of the world without feeling like you have the resources to contribute. So we have a look at where we can bridge the gap. Perhaps that for you is prayer. But if you're feeling illuminated, triggered, fired up, like you've got energy to contribute positively, I also invite you to come right back down and have a look at what's directly in front of you, right in your community. What we've been changing through the shedding when it comes to the snake is a lot of themes in and around the base chakra and the sacral chakra of our collective, of our collective body, of our cultural body, of our one body, mind, and soul. And so when we're looking at these chakras, when we're looking at the themes that we see in the first and the second chakra, we're looking at our structures and our foundations. We're looking at home. We're looking at community. We're looking at village. We're looking at power. We're looking at money. We're looking at intimacy. We're looking at connection with one another. These are the spaces where duality resides, where conflict is. And we need to grow and evolve as a race to be able to respond from a space of love, to choose love, to not fold into fear, not to animate more conflict or further division when it comes to you and your own private life and your intimate relationships, but also the greater picture. And so by no means am I saying that what's going on in the world is okay, but we do have power to contribute to the positive outcome of the experience that we're going through by adding essence that is pure, that is loving, that is hopeful to the collective in those moments where we feel that fear come at us or rise within us about the uncertainty or the unknown of our future. The longer you can maintain and hold spaces of clarity, of openness, of acceptance, of unity, the stronger the light begins to grow in this planet. The light illuminates the truth, and the truth is the way that we get momentum, we get energy, and we get movement when it comes to truth. It's like when your intuition gives you a little hit. It never comes with no energy. It rises internally. You get given this pocket of information, even if it makes no logical sense whatsoever. You're also gifted with the energy to take action. And that's what I'm seeing happen. And so if you feel I'm reaching out way too far and I'm outside of my capacity to be able to contribute, come right back and start to look at your neighbor. Have a look at your partner, have a look at your family members, have a look at your friends, have a look at those in your immediate environment that you could contribute to positively. And this is all the simple stuff right now. This is like writing love letters to your best friends. This is sending the message to the person that you care about and say, I've been thinking about you and I'd love to spend some more time with you. If you're using social media and you're in relationship with other people and you're building a community, stop and pause. Leave a little love heart on their page. It's a time to take that little extra step to the things that feel sentimental, to create sentimentality, and to start to build this bridge of connection where we've had conflict. And this is with yourself too. We've had a huge emphasis on self-love, of building this beautiful relationship with yourself. And what you will begin to notice is that as time is speeding up and as manifestation almost seems to be speeding up, what you're thinking, you're feeling, you're creating can show up in your life much more quickly than it was previously, is that there is almost like a where there hasn't been a reward for the hard work, you actually begin to see this and feel this and experience it within your state of being very quickly. So if instead of raging and kind of losing your shit, you go for a walk and intend to come back into calmness, in centeredness, in wholeness and peace to arrive at clarity, you'll find that by the time you finish your walk now, you come back and you arrive at that state. We're getting more skilled at transforming from one state of being and into another, but recognizing and realizing the patterns that we shed as the snake layer kind of came off that caused the rupture in the first place. So because a lot of this has been removed, there can be a slimming down that's taking place. There can be a purity. It's almost like doing a detox, and there's like a gentleness or a sensitivity to the stomach area, to the digestive system, where you have almost got this opportunity right now to make the most of the clarity, the cleanliness, the fresh slate that's being given. And so I can see that with digestion, it almost feels like it's speeding up. But there's also a lot of energy around they're taking me to like the tail of the snake, but through the tail of the spine, through the lower spine, through the hips. You can also feel this in your pelvis, and around the eyes. So we're looking at stomach, lower spine, hips, and eyes this month. I know sometimes it's nice to have a look at how this is showing up in the body. And so practices that get lots of movement, that allow for fluidity, for softness, to really have a look at these themes when it comes to vision. Here, clairvoyance, but also right down the base of the spine, where we're looking at the base chakra and we're having a look at the area of the body as to what data and information is coming up there for you that is feeling brand new. And some of you can kind of feel like you're starting all over again. But the starting all over again is coming with a little bit more energy because we're not using all of our life force to shift and to purge and to almost recover from the stress and the intensity of purging the skin. I kind of just like walking into a really plain room right now in my vision space. And as I come in here, I can see like plain white walls. I can smell wet paint. I kind of feel like there's a period as this month kind of kicks off where you're like almost like can feel like, oh, I'm waiting for that like intensity to come up again and it's not there. So instead of creating it or feeding fear, we go, okay, and got a little bit more energy, a little bit more momentum. We can start asking questions that are more in service to our future or the direction of the future, just because we've been sort of splayed out backward. We've been splayed out through the past, tidying up all this stuff so that we can catch up with ourselves in the present moment. But I do kind of feel like for some of you, this kind of rises like, oh, I'm waiting for the paint to dry. So what to do in this space? Kind of like the recipe, kneading bread and kind of putting it all together and then going, oh, I've got this period where I need to now just allow for the bread to rise before I bake it. Or that like you get to the end of the day and all of your jobs are done because you've got more energy, you're feeling more productive, you've ticked off your to-do list. And what do you do with that space? This feels really sacred, this space. You can choose to exit the body here. We've got a lot of mental opportunity for mental, or you can carve, it's almost like I'm seeing them like carving out like a circle, carving out sacred space, carving out ritual, carving out a place to go inward whilst the paint dries, whilst the bread rises. It's a beautiful space to come into your own body and being and get in tune with your guidance system. I don't know a single person, maybe that's just the vibration, the nature of the vibrational reality, but I don't know anybody who hasn't had a huge big transformation really lately that's come out the other side that isn't feeling more psychic, more in tune, more open. There's just a realization that we are body, mind, and soul, and I need to get these systems all functioning and working together. And that's where they're bringing up that vision again of like conflict. See that like sort of duality, a little bit here and a little bit here. Once we bring in this third element of spirit, of soul, because we're kind of looking at body and we're kind of looking at mind, when we bring this third element in, all of a sudden we open up space. And whilst this can create a little chaos initially, we're very easily able to sit right in the center of the storm right now. So, where is your center point? That's a question that I'd be asking myself every single day. Am I connected to my center? Creator, please connect me to my enlightened heart, connect me to the present moment. Let me arrive in this space where I'm able to set up a beautiful state of being and go into my day feeling centered. Bring into my awareness, body and being, when I am in the past, in the future, when I am dancing in this space where I'm outside of center, because that's where we start to move forward. Conflict can still be building in the outside, but it's highlighted internally where we're creating our own conflict simply through habits. And we're looking at habits, things that have just happened as a byproduct of the experiences that you've had so far in your life. So, nice time to make like a swear jar. But perhaps for you, that's like every time you complain, you put a coin in the jar. I also feel like we could have a positive spin on some of this. Every time you express your gratitude, do something kind, or go out of your way to be generous or to help somebody else or to benefit the lives of others positively, you put a coin in the jar. And perhaps when that jar is full, you take yourself out on a little date and you celebrate you. I think that these little rituals that we bring into the space that are creative, that seem really minimal, little love notes to your partner, text messages to the friends, those things we spoke about before, these can bring the sun out in somebody's life right now. Because we've had this huge period of loneliness, of a feeling of isolation, it's very good because it takes us into a space where we go, who do I have faith in? Where are my guides? What happens in the quiet? Who am I? Like these are questions that start to shift and change our consciousness. So, in the expansion of consciousness, we have this space of integration and we have change and we have this lovely momentum and movement forward this month. So, for those of you who haven't had a vision, you can start to see that we get a little bit of clarity this month. And it's really important that when we're looking at the vision of the future that we're all connected to, not just the I, when we're looking at the unity consciousness, that we begin to visualize peace and harmony between countries, between people, between races, genders, all of that stuff. It's been stuck and we haven't known what to do with that. So respond with love. That doesn't mean that we bypass this and we do nothing, but it means that we respond from a space of inspiration, from that beautiful space of heart. So your state of being this month matters more than any because you've got this beautiful clean slate, this lovely room that has been freshly painted. You are able now to decorate. And you're decorating with ingredients, with materials that you didn't have previously. So life is not going to be the same. Just checking. I liked this actually. I mean, it seems playful and fun, and you might kind of think, what are you talking about, Faye? But there was Spirit were having this conversation around how some of the practices or principles that come from the kink community around boundaries and around consent and around curiosity are kind of like themes that I feel like as a collective we can really apply right now. Boundaries have been put down. Whilst this isn't so much about boundaries with other people, it kind of feels like boundaries within ourselves. I feel like this is really deeply connected to the body with physical health. I kind of feel like there's this feeling of like, okay, it's enough now. I'm done with that part of my life. And I feel that this isn't, there's not it's like you're consenting to live a better life, to live a healthier life, to you're giving yourself permission to be happy, to let go of complaining, of pain, of this ongoing doom and gloom. And I get it, life can be hard, it comes with suffering, but there is always room in that space to be kind. So if you're one of those people that feel like you've got to bring other people down, whether that be consciously or unconsciously, ask yourself that question. Do I need to bring other people down when I'm not feeling okay? We can make some adjustments here because you could still be having a shit day, but you're still able to be nice, or not even nice, I don't like that word so much. You're still able to be kind to the people around you. So watch what it is that you say about others. This is judgments, this is also criticisms. I want this to be productive. We're really seeing the impact of our words this month and how very quickly it almost changes the lighting. I want you to imagine that there's almost like much like we're going in and out of focus with this camera. I do apologize about that. Hopefully the audio is kind of what you're here for anyway. But as our words almost act like a dimmer. If you can imagine, you turn the light on, you've got this lovely, clear, open space, you're ready and willing, you're energized. Our words that we speak out aloud either turn up the brightness or they turn it down. And you're going to see this in the moment. You can say something and go, oh, actually, I got to put $1 in the complaining jar and I'm going to rewrite that. I'm going to bring it back to neutral at least. And we're playing with this dialogue a little bit here, okay? Anything else that I need to address before we pack up the session today? Oh, I love that. I'm just looking at this language piece. This can be increased connection to nature for some of you, like the language you've been looking for. When I said before there weren't words for your experience, sometimes it's not words. Sometimes it is, but it's telepathy. It's something that's happening inside of your body and your being. And you talk to the flowers, when you talk to the trees, when you say good morning to the bird, and you start to realize it's the same one that's, turning up in your garden every day. And you start to build these lovely relationships with the environment around you. Anything else there? They're sort of emphasizing color here too, things around color therapy, utilizing color to lift your mood. I kind of feel like the rainbow, I can see like the lovely like lorikeets that I see in my garden. There's this feeling of being with color, not shying away from color. If you wear a lot of black and white, perhaps there's like an opportunity to just like put a little bow in your hair or something. It's kind of like this, like sprinkling things up a little bit. So express yourself with color, utilize color in your vision space as well. This can be a really beautiful intuitive practice to kind of go, okay, what color do I currently feel like? Maybe use that kind of like dimming experience, and perhaps like you're a soft gray and you start to feel like, well, I'd like to feel warmer. I want this essence that I'm contributing to reality to feel kinder. And as you start to shift and change, you begin to see that your color goes from this soft gray to this warm sort of pink or this lovely sort of red. I want to finish this reading up to state that I have struggled a little bit to show up to this space this year because of the sheer intensity of the transformation that we've been going through. And it can start to feel like I'm just trying to sort of sprinkle fairy dust on everything. And that really isn't the case. I want you to know that I deeply empathize for your experiences, for those of you who have really been struggling, and also want to celebrate those of you who have been thriving in this chaos, because your sensing body has actually taught you to protect yourself and that your psychic language is something that you've been navigating with, that you've been very comfortable with because you needed to. And often that's a lot of trauma through your childhood, through those early kind of years where you've been wired in a particular way in order to keep you safe. For those of you who have been chipping away at this for a really long time, this has been a really beautiful time of expansion for you, where your self-belief, where your self-love, where your projects are coming to fruition. It can really have been evident that you have celebrated and overcome some really big challenges, and it might not have felt like there have been spaces to be celebrated. So I just want to acknowledge that it's okay too to be feeling a sense of joy, of celebration, of hope, of happiness in a time where things can feel grey. And so that's all really welcome too. But the struggle for me has been finding the language. Interesting, we're talking about this so as that I can address all of you, because we've had such a dualistic experience where it's kind of been like you're here or you're here, and finding that place in the middle where this lands for all of you, where it can still be productive, has been a real challenge. And I always want to be able to offer you some insight and some awareness that really helps you practically take this information into your life and have it come into fruition in whatever way that is for you. So look at the nature of the messages symbolically, start to see life more metaphorically, and what you will notice is this time has given us discernment, discipline, compassion, generosity, and this beautiful opportunity that we're arriving at now, where we're looking at connection and intimacy. And this is what begins to change. This is an intimate and connected, not disconnected relationship with yourself that will eventually manifest to that group mind. And so we have to build this relationship with ourselves first. So for those of you who find yourself newly single, this could be the best opportunity that you have to build a really deep and loving relationship with yourself. For those of you who are in a relationship that have been very codependent, this is a really beautiful time to find your independence and start to explore other areas within your life. And this is a time to be generous. There are people without right now. So can you see how that positively starts to change the way we think, the way that we feel, the way that we respond? I've watched my own partner going, he goes out of his way to buy extra food when we go shopping, and puts it in our little community box where there's like extra food to be picked up. Stuff like this is important. So look at the micro, not necessarily the macro point of contribution. And the reward for that experience is subtle, but it's just feeling more whole. It's feeling more caring. It's feeling more considerate. It's feeling more kind. And that opens our world. We can be in periods where we're shedding, where we get pulled right in and our world gets really small and it becomes very I and it becomes very me, me, me. And so this is that the skin comes off and we have this lovely opening where I believe we have this absolute opportunity to continue to raise the love and light quotient of this planet, but start to bring down more truth. And the truth from the space where we're looking at like universal law. Where we're looking at this space where the laws that govern all of us, not religion, not this other stuff, the laws of like cause and effect. This is science as much as it is mysticism. So thanks for being here with me today. I do apologize about my camera. I thought I kind of had this nailed. It zooms in and out, and it's something I can't turn off, even though it makes the picture a little clearer when I am in focus. It just means I have to stay really still, but I'm sure there's Italian in me, and I love to talk and communicate with my hands. All right, make art this month, please. It's such a beautiful remedy, both for yourself and for the planet. And I will see you in November. Lots of love, and we'll speak then.